Hello, AFC Bournemouth fans. Hope you're doing well on this Sunday night. We all hate international breaks, don't we? Alas, it was a 5-0 win for England last night. Wasn't a brilliant performance, but it doesn't matter. We won. Not that any of us really care. We all want to get back to club football. So it's pleasing that on tonight's show, we're chatting all things AFC Bournemouth, and we've got an action-packed one for you tonight with the company of, drumroll please, Mr. Tiggs. Tiggs, how are you?
Hey, top of the league to you, Sam.
Top of the league. I'm working out the order in which I should bring these out, but I think in a kind of X Factor style, there is no particular order to what we're doing. So next, it's Tom Jordan. Tom, you all right?
Very well, thank you.
Also, Jeff Hayward. Jeff, how you doing?
Number one.
Number one indeed. And there's an extra, of course, the return of Neil Dawson. Neil, how are you, buddy? You all right?
Champion.
Champion. Hopefully, we'll be saying those words later on in the season. So what's coming up? Let's find out. So we've got an action-packed show for you tonight. We're going to be looking at the 2-1 win over Sheffield United. We're taking a second look. Look, we're not going to go wild about it. It happened over a week ago, but we need to cover it off, so we'll be talking about that. We'll also have our quarter-season review. Well, it's kind of quarter. We'll go over our campaign so far. Looking forward to that. But also, the next 12 games, that takes us up to Christmas Day. And that will be half a season then, 23 games played. Can AFCB keep the momentum? There's a little cheeky tier list for you there. Also, there's a cheeky tier list for the player gradings as well. We're going to have some views on our star performers and those that maybe could do a little bit better. And also, in regards to doing a little bit better, can we do better as back of the net? Because we want you to help us improve and shape the channel, and we're looking for some feedback, and we'll give you the link to go to later on in the show as we look to, keep up our form more than anything else. So that's what's coming up on tonight's second look. So then, gentlemen, Tiggs, let's start off with you. How are things going? How does it feel to be top of the league? It's all right, isn't it?
It is all right. It sort of snuck up on me a little bit, Sam. It's caught me a little bit off guard. But hey, we just kept on going, didn't we? And not only top of the league, but to be unbeaten as well is something pretty impressive, I think, at this stage of the season.
Yeah, agree. Now, just a reminder to everyone that's watching, I've seen some of the familiar names in chat. Good evening to you all. But Tom, I've just been looking through the stats in YouTube Analytics, and judging by the stats, 47% of people that watch these videos are not subscribed. So what on earth can they do?
It's not difficult, and it's frustrating to have to keep reminding these people. I don't know what's wrong with them, if there's something wrong with their fingers maybe, but yeah, while you're there, give it a little like as well, because that's only just down the bottom, and then a little bit high, you just got a massive red button. It's normally a red button, isn't it, that says subscribe. So just give it a click, and then you'll know when we're about. So you won't have to keep searching other things to see when we're on. So it's easy to do, and it helps us a lot. So cheers.
Neil, we've had this issue throughout the season whereby we've never been behind until the last game. So how nice is it that we came through that particular challenge against Sheffield United, eh?
Yeah, I think there's certain milestones, particularly for new squads and new managers, that you want to achieve. We will, I'm sure, have the need to bounce back at some point in the season, because that'll be another milestone for the team when you've got to recover from a defeat. So I think each milestone that you pass successfully gives everyone good heart. So we haven't been behind. The players' heads could have dropped. Sheffield United were a physical side, but we didn't. We came back. So milestone tick.
And for a side, Jeff, that only seems to play in the first half, but the second half of the first half, what did you feel when Sheffield United took the lead early into the second half? You're thinking, okay, this is a real test now. And I must admit, at the time, given the fact that our second half performances have been pretty dire of late, especially at home, there was concern for me.
Yeah, and the conditions were not in our favour. They suited a physical side, which Sheffield United were. So it was really heartening to come back from that. I think psychologically, the team pulled together, which was not something we could really say they did a lot last season. They all sort of got stuck in, and hardly any time passed at all before we were back in the lead, which is exactly the way I like to see us play.
And quite a boon to do it just before the international break, Tiggs. I don't know what it is, but I just felt as though we needed that almost.
Yeah, I remember plenty of seasons where we kind of tail off just before the international break, and it's so frustrating, isn't having to wait. But as Jeff said, I mean, to get such a good little spell there at the end, and it is nice. Like, I can't think of many games where we get to come from behind, and to come from behind for a change, definitely filled me with confidence.
But it wasn't the perfect performance. I mean, the first half, Tom, they could have taken the lead. I think Billy Sharp had an effort that went over the bar, and they looked a solid side, despite their league position at the time, which I think was 13th. We always knew that it wasn't going to be that kind of game, was it? It was always going to be a difficult one.
Yeah, there always seems to be a side that maybe starts a bit slower, and you know they'll probably be there or thereabouts come the end, and I think they're probably one of them. And so, I knew it'd be a difficult game. Like you say, I remember that Billy Sharp chance. I think it was a slight error from Lloyd Kelly at the back, wasn't it? And they broke through. But it was always going to be difficult. And even before the whistle was blown, they switched ends, didn't they? I never like that. I don't know what the record is. I don't even know if it's that bad, but I just don't like it. So they switched the ends on us and stuff like that. And it was a difficult first half, wasn't it? But like you mentioned, we've kind of been used to that at the moment. That it hasn't all gone our way throughout the 90 minutes. So I was still confident, despite not the best start. And they're a good outfit. They've got some good players.
But Jeff, do you know if it was our choice or not? Because I've heard some inklings on Twitter that it was actually our choice to shoot towards the North Stand, which it kind of makes sense given the fact that 2/3 of our goals have been in front of the Ted Mack, and given our first half form is so good, maybe it made sense to do that. Lloyd Kelly, a bit of a masterstroke there.
Well, it was a complete masterstroke, wasn't it? Yeah, completely planned, utterly. Everything worked out exactly as we. I don't know. I mean, honestly,
doesn't matter.
What is it? Why can we only score at one end? I don't get it.
And it was Sheffield United that took the lead, though, into the second half, Neil. And it was Billy Sharp actually went on a bit of a run. It came direct from the keeper, I think. It took a couple of bounces. And he held off his marker before pulling it back into the path of Gibbs White. And he slid in. It almost looked like it might be slightly behind him, but he timed it perfectly, really, past Travers. And at that point, you're thinking, okay, well, at least we're shooting towards the Ted Mack. But we managed to turn it around in a very quick spell of time, and it stemmed from Dom Solanke having a bit of a run, didn't it?
Yeah, he. I mean, first of all, Gibbs White, what an excellent player. I thought he was superb on the day. I wasn't there, unfortunately. I had COVID, but I watched it, and he was a much sought after player for this level, and they were lucky to get him. And I thought he took that fantastically well. But no, credit to Dominic Solanke, because he did two or three really strong, bustling runs that caused problems for goals. And that one, he was completely and utterly cleaned out. If that had been anywhere else on the pitch, it would have been a straight red. And also, a lot of people not sure of the rules. So everyone arguing afterwards, although the rule does clearly state if you are going into the penalty area and fouled and then continue into the penalty area, it's a penalty. But that seemed to catch out a couple of their players and the manager, which is always interesting. But no, it was a superb run from him. He played excellently, I thought, on that game again.
And then who takes the penalty takes? We're always wondering, right, there's no Junior Stanislas, so who's it going to be? Now, I noticed as soon as that kick was given, Dom Solanke sprawled out on the floor injured. Phil Billing ran up to that ball straight away, grabbed it with both arms, clutched the ball to his chest. I thought, it's going to be him. And to be fair, when he did grab it, I thought, well, yeah, to be fair, I've seen him take pens before. He's all right. But it was Dom in the end. And Dom's got that funny technique, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. And do you know what? It's important that he's taken them, because we've talked about it before. That's the difference between, 15 goals and 25 goals. And Neil's spoke about it plenty of times.
Ivan Toney.
Yeah, exactly. Look at Ivan Toney's goals exactly last season. So, it's going to make a big difference for him. And he's cool, isn't he, when he takes his pens. I do like him. It's interesting, go back to the penalty earlier. Tom and I was in the south stand, Tom was in the north stand, and we had completely polar views of that tackle that led to that penalty. So Tom could see it from outside the box, and me, as it came towards me, all I could see was Dom fall into the box. So unless you were alongside it, it was really hard to see where the challenge started, where the challenge ended. It was really, really difficult. So I can understand why there was so much contention over it. But when you see the replays, it is sliding. As Neil said, anywhere else on the pitch, it would have been a red. You said earlier before, didn't you, Neil, that it reminded you of another tackle.
Simon Francis against Arsenal, it was almost identical. There are certain tackles that when they happen in penalty areas, they get punished with a penalty. But you just know if you're out of control like he was, full length, two-footed, not that he caught Solanke two-footed, but his 2 feet were off the ground, then it would have been a red. So
I think the great thing about that goal as well was the pass from Lloyd Kelly over the top. They were obviously a bit slow at the back, and Solanke, he beat a couple of them on the way to getting cleaned out. But it's really nice to see us mixing up our game like that. We're not obsessive about passing it across the back and having 60% possession in a game and doing nothing with it, and that was nice to see.
It's quite interesting you say that, Tom, because one of the things that people have spoke about with Lloyd Kelly is their frustration of his distribution. But every so often, he comes up with this pass over the top that's just absolute dynamite. And a player like Dom Solanke thrives off that kind of ball.
Yeah, I think with Lloyd, I think sometimes I wonder if it's his body language. Sometimes he looks really casual in the way. So when he gives the ball away, it looks so lazy. But like you say, he's got that in his locker, and it was a hell of a ball. And like Jeff says, it's nice to be able to mix it up and know we've got that in us because Dom can go in behind if he needs to, as well as coming short. So it was a clever ball. He's done that a few times this season, and it was really good. And like I said, I didn't know if it was I don't think it's a rule this, because I agree with what Neil said. That's a red carded or else. And I wonder if the ref kind of thinks this double jeopardy thing that well, I've given them a pen, I can't really send him off as well. That's like 2 punishments. I don't know, but it does seem odd because when you look back, you think that could have been a red, but. Just happy to get the goal. I mean, I didn't look at it because I don't watch penalties, but I've seen it since, and it was a very cool one. So, yeah, a goal scorer in form, that's who you want taking your penalties, I think.
That's our first penalty since when?
Long time remember.
Should have had that as a quiz question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Stanislas would have taken it.
Yeah. I mean, it would have been, but he's got this technique. I've said it multiple times before. He doesn't even look at the ball. He does almost does a Pogba where he's just squaring up to the keeper eye to eye, and he's obviously knows where the ball is, but he just waits that split second. And it's funny. I saw a penalty slowed down for who is it for Man United that takes that kind of skip penalty?
Pogba, is it, or
no, is it like Hernandez or someone?
Yeah, Fernandez.
Who takes that Fernandez, and you kind of realise how well you've got to. I mean, you've got a split second before you can see which way the keepers, which way they're going. And thankfully, he got it right. But he also, to be fair, he put it high enough whereby even if the keeper did dive that way, I think it would have been all right anyway. And 2-1, we held on, Tiggs, didn't we? I mean, Lys Mousset had his chance, but maybe if he was a bit more athletic, he would have probably got to that header and got over it a little bit more for it to go in, eh?
No. No, that's me being a bit harsh. I don't really mean it. It's interesting, really. I look back on that game and I think, okay, let's say we didn't get that penalty and we got sent off. I don't think we would have. I don't know if we would have been able to get another goal because they would have just parked it, wouldn't they? Completely. It was only because the game was still open at that point. But yeah, I can't remember what you asked me now, Sam. Mousset. I don't know. Has he been a success there? I can't even work it out.
For about 4 games, I think.
He had a 6-game window in the Premier League where he looked absolutely brilliant. I think he scored twice against Man United, didn't he? And he took them apart, and then he scored in a couple of other games, and then got injured, and it's been the same story. I just don't think he's fit. I don't think he's ever fit.
I remember Eddie saying it was it was getting him up to speed and training and things like that. And even when we gave him the odd start, it got to about 60 minutes, and he thought he's done. He's absolutely done here. And even at Sheffield United, I remember, like you say, Neil, when he was in the Prem, he scored 2, but he'd still have to come off after that an hour. So, I think it's a fitness thing.
What was really interesting, I always thought about him, was that because he was superb for France under 21s, and that's a hard team to get into if you're under 21 French. And Thierry Henry was his mentor, who he used to come down and see him when he first got to Bournemouth, mentoring him on behalf of the French FA. You think you do not go to that level of trouble for a player unless you think they're going to be very special. And I think we saw like 30-second snippets of it when he was here. But he'll be like a French Jordan Ibe potentially, won't he? It just doesn't make it.
I'd rather have a Bournemouth Ryan Christie.
Well, that's it. Yeah, it's almost like you've read the script. There's no script, by the way, but it almost like you have, because you know what? There's a player that has really come into his own, and he set Billing up for that goal to make it 2-1 Tiggs, and he just kind of bided his time on that right hand side, and he's got that ability to take it to the byline and then pull it back with his right, or he can pull in with this kind of wand of a left foot that almost seems like Matt Ritchie-esque, but the timing was right. Billings' run was timed right. It was just a perfect goal, and you know what? It didn't even need the power to cross the line, just because he put it in the different direction. Keeper had no chance. No,
he's immense, and I know Tom, you both you and Sam have been talking about the fact that since Christie's come in, where does that leave Brooks? And it's a real head scratcher. You spoke to someone last week, didn't you, Tom, about this, about where we might go with that? What do you think?
Yeah, I spoke to James Alcott, League 72, and he was very, like a lot of people are going, how is David Brooks on the bench in the Championship? Because I think people that look in just know the quality he's got, like we do. But as I don't know if you all agree, but from where we're standing, you think, he shouldn't be in the team at the moment. I think at the moment Christie's, there's similarities to both of them. I think from that right coming in, Christie's he's much better off the ball in my opinion. Anyway, you saw that in the last game, absolutely a proper grafter. But also he's backing up with numbers. He's that final pass is ended up in a goal, and he's getting these assists on his name. And Brooksy was struggling with that. Brooksy will have a big part to play, I think, this season. There's going to be a lot of Tuesday, Saturday games and stuff like that. But at the moment, I don't think any Bournemouth fan puts David Brooks in their 11, personally. So it might be a kick up the arse he needs, though, because I think Brooksy's a better player than what he's shown for too long now.
Yeah, Jeff, what have you thought of him so far?
Yeah, I think where Brooks has struggled ever since he came back from injury towards the end of our relegation season, he's shown flashes, and there have been times where you think he just needs to show it on a more consistent level. Christie is consistently good. His decision making is good. It's better than Brooks's has been, and he doesn't need to score wonder goals, but he's got that ability to drift in that Brooks has. But also, he works much harder for the team, I think, and he's more physical. So Brooks, I think, in the Championship just gets pushed off the ball and doesn't get free kicks from referees because they think, he's just fallen over because he's a bit of a waif. Christie is no waif.
Plus, you also see, I don't know about you, Tiggs, but he just seems to be quite highly strung, like Matt Ritchie is as well.
I like that.
I don't know what his disciplinary record is like, but he's almost a player that's probably more liable to get yellow cards just because he's so intense with the way he's getting it. You know what? Case in point, that 2-minute clip, and I spoke about this on a previous video that AFCB put out on Twitter and social media the other week, where we were making all these defensive blocks, and on my own Twitter, I pointed out after 20 seconds. He was right in their faces, and he got in front of his marker. He won the ball back. He turned his marker. He managed to get between two players and then spread this lovely ball upfield. And it's just like, would David Brooks do that? No.
It's really interesting to me because we've got real kind of polarized wings now, haven't we? Because you've got Smith and Christie, who are gonna, they're gonna put in some tackles. They're gonna really, and then on the other side, you've got the more kind of flairful Zamura and Anthony, who are gonna, I think a lot of our attacks are gonna come down that left. It's exciting, so exciting to have a player like that and him come in. And some people were casting doubt over the fact that where he'd come from, which I don't really get. I mean, at the end of the day, I know Scottish football potentially is a little bit light at the top, but at the end of the day, he's played against some amazing players already in his career. To choose us is a hell of a coup, and he's already proving a lot of those doubters wrong very, very quickly as well.
Have we got a right-hand side backup of Stacy and Brooks, by the way? I mean, that's madness. There's not. I mean, that right side, to have Stacy and Brooks on the bench is incredible, and that's going to keep. And that's just what I say. I think in the Championship over the course of the season, that's going to play a part. So, I agree with what everyone's saying on Brooks here. I don't. We know there's a player there, and I do wonder sometimes if he almost is so frustrated with himself. He tries too hard to make something happen. And sometimes you think, just let off, bro. He tried to beat the man twice for example. And Chrissy's come in and been a breath of fresh air, hasn't he? So Brooks will have to fight for his place again.
It's like that saying. Like Sam did a thing with Brian Benjamin. Brian Benjamin?
Benjamin Bloom.
Benjamin Bloom. Making up names. Benjamin Bloom channel. I watch it as well, by the way. And he said about Brooks did all right in the Premier League. He was really good there. And it's like, can he do it on a cold night in Stoke? On a Tuesday night. It's that thing, isn't it? When he had a bit more space and time on the ball, how much better he performs. And he's not getting that. No way.
Might find out Tuesday week, Tiggs.
Yeah.
So, in hindsight, then, when you look at this tier list that we did, and we put this on Twitter about Eddie Howe's signings, we did this as soon as he left. And these are all his signings. And some people like saying, who the hell's he? Like bottom right there in Awfuls, Conor Mahoney. I think someone was questioning who the fifth person along in Poor is, and that's Emerson Heineman. But you're sort of looking at that now, lads. Tom, I mean, look at where Dom Solanke is in OK.
Yeah.
Look at where Asmir Begovic is in Poor. Like, if we were to do this again now, this was based on Eddie Howe signings, by the way. Yeah. Now, a year later, there'll be a few changes, right?
I think of course, but I think what's nice about that is we've got to see. I think that's Chris Mepham in OK, Dom Solanke in OK, Jack Stacy in OK, because they were quite new then. And I think, well, actually, even though people like Meps probably want more game time, I think all of them are moving up, which is that's really positive, isn't it? They were new at the time, so we put them in OK, and we'll probably, when we discussed it, probably said they've got room to move up, and that's probably the case with most of them, I think. And
Ryan Fraser?
and it's quite middle diddle at the moment, isn't it? And you could move a few around, but quite like I think that's all right. But I wonder, Dom Solanke's the one that I wonder if he could end up being just. It's so funny, isn't it? When I remember we used to get that on us that Eddie Howe would always be able to, he spent this much on Dom Solanke. He's not very good in the market. It won't be long before he could be getting these kind of numbers in the Premier League like Callum's done. So that will definitely be interesting to see.
So we'll go over our season so far then, and we'll just take 20 seconds just to our brief thoughts on each of these games. And Tiggs, I'll start with you then. We've played 11, 12 to go until we reach the halfway mark. But our first match was against West Brom. We were 7th in the league after this one. The pod title was bagging a draw. I tell you what, it took all of my creative energy to come up with that one. Thoughts in 20 seconds about that game, mate?
No, no, I'm joking. I thought it was a really good game, really good opener to the season, and it left me a little bit kind of like, I don't really know. I was very nervous about the amount of young players that we were having to put out, and it just looked like we had a team without any depth at all. And poor old Zamura had a hell of a game at left back, if I remember rightly. They kept trying to lob the ball over the top of him. Interesting because it left me a little bit neutral about the season.
But then, Tom, everything improved when we played Nottingham Forest, and it was a good win on the road. You got to go to that bar that you like to. We were up to 5th. Never knew that they were called the Tricky Trees. That was a new one for me, but the podcast title shows that I did do my research. But I think Philip Billing was on the score sheet in that one, wasn't he?
Yeah, I felt that was a really big moment. It was only the first away game of the season, the first win of the season, but we're going difficult place to go, and we, like Tig said in the last game, you really weren't sure about our squad, but a young, very youthful squad. Then we went down to 10 men with Brooks getting sent off, and we managed to grind it out and get the win. And for a lot of young players, I think they'll look back on that and go, first away game for a lot of them in the Championship, going down to 10 and showing that we can do the nitty gritty and come out of 3 points. So, yeah, I love that one.
And then Jeff, a 2-0 win over the Blues in a half-empty stadium because of their stand issues, but Dom Solanke and Jaden Anthony up to 4th, and it was one where the first half was really dull from memory.
Yeah, pretty dull game, and it was difficult to see if either team was going to be able to score. However, Dom was exceptional with that finish, but more importantly, I think that game was a turning point for some of the young players. Ibsen Rossi was outstanding that night. Thought Kilkenny was great.
Oh, he was.
Jay-Z and Jaden Anthony scoring as well with the last kick of the game was a really nice moment, and you could see the togetherness in the team in that match in a big way. I think it was there in the first 2 games, to be honest, but it really shone through in that one.
Yeah, we could see, Tiggs, can we, the way that Ibsen Rossi went over to Junior Stanislas to basically tell him what to do, and he executed perfectly. Ibsen Rossi was in the goal, and then he peeled out as soon as Junior Stanislas took the kick, headed it back, and Jaden Anthony was the one to benefit. So next, as you can see, Blackpool at home, and it's one of those matches where, to be honest, I was thinking it's going to be a 3 points for us, 3 points, but it didn't turn out to be the case. And as you can see by the pod title that weekend, it was a Boscombe shock as Blackpool rocked. Dom Solanke, I think, scored twice in the first half. And me and Tom, I remember, Tom, we were on the concourse saying that it could be 3-4. And I think that was the chance where Dom went through on goal in the second half, and he almost tried to do too much. He could have slotted it. He didn't. He tried to round the keeper, because at that point, it would have been the perfect hat trick, I think. Had he put it on his left foot, he got a right foot, he got a header, and then he tried it on his left foot. He didn't. And, that was the chance where the game turned, because Blackpool went and scored, and then they scored again. They got a penalty, I think. And I can't remember feeling as bad, especially after lockdown, in terms of how I felt after a game. So, yeah, that was probably one of the most disappointing results for us this season. I'm sorry to give you the board draw, Neil, but bloody atrocious.
I feel like I've not spoke for half an hour now. I've got to talk about whole Bournemouth.
Terrible.
It was woeful. It was like watching paint dry, and then peppered with a couple of easy chances for us. Marcondes springs to mind, the missing man, Marcondes, who obviously for the first 4 games was quite pivotal, and then we've not seen hide nor hair of him since, along with Gavin Kilkenny. He missed one. I think Dom missed one, but it was. You could file Peterborough when we come to that as well. Just such similar games where when a side doesn't want to attack us, and I guess that's something we'll talk about when we talk about how our season develops. We're not as good when teams just want to park the bus and let us play against a deep back four.
Okay, I'll be nice to you, Neil, and I'll keep it with you for our most emphatic win of the season, which is the 3-0 over Barnsley. And obviously, up to 5th. Plenty to like as Tykes out-psyched.
Yeah, I think this was what you call a coming of age game, wasn't it, for Jordan Zamura, who was excellent in the first 4 games, but I wondered, was he getting by on adrenaline? Was it a bit of flash in the pan? Questionable defensive positioning sometimes, but he got away with it because championships you get punished less. And so I was thinking, he's excellent. I wonder if he's going to stay in the team or not. And then after this game, I had no doubt that he will be one of the first names on the team sheet because he's just so pivotal. And his relationship with Jaden Anthony was superb in this game. And we should have won by 4 or 5. It was excellent performance. Very, very enjoyable.
Tiggs, I'll come to you for our 2-1 win over West Brom. And QPR. It had the feel of a big game, didn't it? It really did for something so early in the season. It really had a big game feel. Yeah,
QPR have been shown a lot of promise, haven't they, up to that point, and people are wondering where they might finish this season. So it was nice, really, because a lot of the focus is on them rather than us. Really good first half, if I remember rightly. We got 2 goals, but this was the start of when we started having that little conversation about, when we're winning games, why do we suddenly relax a little bit, take our foot off the accelerator, and we let them back in, didn't we? And then I remember that at the end of the game, it was quite fraught and quite frantic. Were we going to end up losing an equaliser? But we carried on, marching on.
We did. Then I'll cover off the next one, and that was one where myself and Tom didn't even see this goal. We were in the concourse, but it was another one of those which I think we were speaking at half time, and we were saying this has got Birmingham written all over it. The first half wasn't particularly great, but cometh the hour, cometh the man, and it was on 56 minutes. So why me and Tom were still downstairs, I do not know. 11 minutes into the second half, but Phil Billing was on the edge of the box after a great Adam Smith run and just seemed to find a gap and didn't hit it particularly powerfully, but just sent the keeper the wrong way. And from then on, we held on, and it seems to be a thing whereby we just control matches. And whilst Cardiff had a couple of chances, I think one of them was offside anyway. So apart from that, they didn't really threaten it. I would like them to go on and make it 2-0, 3-0. It doesn't seem to happen, but we're controlling the game. So you know what? That's all good. Tom, Luton Town, 2-1. After this match week, we were top of the league.
Yeah, we were, and this is one that just trying to go off like what's my first thought when you showed me the game, and it was their striker who just missed. He could have had a hat-trick. Was it Adebayo? I think his name is.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, he had it. Yeah, one of them games, and that's where I think we'll probably come on to, and we'll probably only see later on in the season in terms of, like you said, are we controlling games really well? Are we getting a little bit lucky as well? You got to have the rub of the green, and we did in this game, because I remember him missing one kind of open goal where he kind of cocked it up with his feet. Travers gave him one, he missed that, and then a header later in the game. But we were still worthy of the victory, but it was hard fought, and Luton probably impressed me more than I thought. I think Luton are quite a decent outfit. I think they're quite strong this year, so I think that's probably one we'll look back on and go, and we probably took that one a bit too lightly. That's a really big win, I think. Luton are a good side, so I was pleased to tick that one off, and like you say, go to the top of the league.
So, Jeff, when you're drawing against newly promoted Blackpool, you're drawing against newly promoted Hull. What we don't want to do is get a draw against Peterborough, but look what happened.
Can't you give this one to Neil as well?
Tempted.
I mean, geez. Do you know what one of the highlights of this season for me has been? Watching the away day vlogs rather than some of the highlights.
Yeah.
It's nice for me as well. I get a reminder of what happened.
Hull and Peterborough was so much better than the games. But yeah, I mean, we should have won it even in the last minute. We should have won it, shouldn't we? When Solanke fired over, he should score that. But you know what? It's tough playing against teams that have got no ambition, and we just need to, I don't know, play better against them and get those breaks that we didn't get that night.
Teams that have got no ambition, Jeff, you're going to get memed up again and shared on Twitter, I'm absolutely certain. And then, of course, it was the 2-1 over Sheffield United, which we've covered off. So in terms of the next lot of games then, we've got another 12 that take us through to half the season. And that is the Boxing Day match at QPR, that's right. Yeah. That'll be our 24th match of the season. So what we're going to do next is try to predict how they're going to go. I bloody hate doing this.
This always goes well.
Yeah, we shouldn't. But you know what we're going to do? We're going to do it like slightly differently, right? Ooh. So we've got a tier list, but we're going to do it whereby, well, I'll show you what's on screen now. Here we go.
We're not using the medium of dance, are we?
We're not. We've got a bit. Look, the top two are 3 points, right? This is just a bit of fun. Big win. Tight win. It's probably going to be tight based on how we play. A decent draw, a ball draw, or a big L for loss. And we'll go through each of them individually, and we'll start off with our next one. And look, Tiggs, I'm going to come to you, and that is Bristol City. And that is going to be the next away game. And I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to that, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'll be at that one with you, Sam. Now, tricky actually, because I hate international breaks because they they take the wheels off of our momentum a little bit. But nevertheless, I've got to back the boys. I'm going to go with a tight win.
Tight win, and look, we try not to be too optimistic. Let's try to be, but I think that's probably about okay. And then only a few days later, we're doing Stoke, and Tom, for our sins, it is live on Sky, but we thought we'd do it anyway. Yeah, we've got Morgan Scott coming with us in the car. We got Steve Hensman. We've got a right old car full.
What are we doing?
Never an easy place to go, though, is it? Never.
Oh no, definitely not. And yeah, obviously it's memed up as we actually are going to Stoke on a Tuesday night to see what it's about. Like you say, I think, but doing this kind of lightheartedly because it all depends on the game before and the reaction and things like that. So I'm going to go off Tiggs's. We've just got a nice tight win at Bristol City and enjoyed that one. We've gone to Stoke. They're doing really well. They beat West Brom, didn't they, recently, and took them off the unbeaten one. And listen, especially if we beat Bristol City, I'm ripping your hand off for a draw at Stoke. I think go to Stoke and get a point. So I'm going decent draw. I'm going to go for a scrappy 1-1 in that game.
I was about to say they've been doing all right, haven't they?
They've been doing really well. I think that'll be one where it'll be a good point, definitely.
Jeff, Huddersfield at home after that. Phil Billings' ex-club, and always a fairly tricky side when we play them at Dean Court, actually.
They've surprised me this season, Huddersfield. They're doing pretty well. They've got some decent results. They're in contention for a playoff place at the moment, and I think we're going to have our work cut out to get a result. Won't be the 5-0 that we got last season, but I think we'll edge that 2-1.
2-1. Okay, so we're going to go and put that in tight win. By the way, if you're interested about the stats, we do have some stats about our away days. Bristol City. There you go, 72 miles in a car. Look, we're just showing off now, aren't we? Price for a pint in Bristol is £4.46. And
every pint is £4.46.
Yeah, yeah, every single pint.
That's
the average. Our last 3 matches there, as you can see, are a little bit inconsistent. And whilst we've just done them as well, we'll also cover off Stoke 2, which is a bit of a longer trip. So, Tom, I don't know what time we're leaving there. However, you know, in terms of the price of a pint and our last 5, certainly more favourable. But so you're going to be happy with that, right?
Yeah, can't wait.
Can't wait for Stoke. Right then, who's next? This is going to be Neil Dawson, and we've got Reading away, which has been moved to a prime time Saturday night. So
yeah, nightclub busting kickoff of 8 o'clock. So
it is.
People who struggle to get, but they'll be back for midnight and going straight into the clubs.
Hopefully you'll have the right Sky plan to record Strictly and this at the same time, but hopefully you'll be going anyway. We've got an allocation of about 2,200 for this, and always a decent ground to go to. What are your thoughts about this one?
It'll be Strictly's lowest audience, won't it? When all our pensioners tune in to watch the Bournemouth game on Sky. Thought I better say it rather than a fan of another club. So Reading, interesting one. Always interesting when we play them because there's always an edge. So I always think form goes out the window a little bit. If you think of our championship season with Eddie, it was Artur Boruc won us that game, didn't he? The last time I think we were there as a fan base was then, wasn't it? We were there last year, but so I think they like to beat us. We like to beat them. They got a dangerous guy in Jonathan Swift, I think, isn't it? Who scored hatfuls of goals this season. I think it will be a decent draw.
Okay. Decent draw for that. And
bad
Reading,
when you get back.
Yeah, slightly further away than Reading. Well, it depends what road you go on, but there you go. Price of a pint, a little bit more expensive. But yeah, our last 5 there, that 3-1 loss last season. I mean, it was a terrible first half, wasn't it? Went down 3-0, and then Stanislas scored a consolation, and a lot of AFC Bournemouth fans, including myself, were throwing our toys out the pram after that one. Right, who we got next? We got Preston at home, and Tiggs, you know what? I'll let you do this one, mate. Preston North End at home. That's on a Wednesday night. How are you feeling about that?
Well, they've had a pretty shaky start to the season. They are a bit lower than I thought they would be at the moment. So I hopefully after a couple of decent draws, we can get back into winning ways. But I think they are going to make it tricky for us. I think they are going to be thinking exactly what I was thinking. Yeah. That's definitely. I've just heard Jeff's dog say it. That is a tight win for me.
Yeah. It's going to be a rough game. No big wins, though. No big wins. And always a bit of a worry when there are no big wins. I'm just wondering, what team we're going to be playing that will give us that. Swansea, by the way, you're probably looking at it thinking, what on earth is this crest? This is a crest that they've got for 21-22 season only, and then they'll revert back to their old one. So, yeah, if you're wondering what on earth that is Swansea. That is on Saturday, the 6th of November. And Tom, what are you thinking for this? Because Swansea, not the team they were.
Yeah, tough game. Is that on the road or at home?
At home.
Sorry, home. Yeah, I'd like to add so. Yeah, they're not quite like I say. We nicked Jamal Lower from them, haven't we? And they're probably. I mean, they might get in there, but they're probably thinking their best chance is kind of mid-table top 10 this season. I don't think they're going to be up there in the playoffs. Trying to mix it up a little bit. Maybe this could be a bit. Should I just go for it? Yeah, why not? Big win. 4-0.
Oh, come on. You know what?
It's going to be Dom Solanke's first hat-trick as well. And then he's going to come off, get a stand ovation, and Jamal Lower nick the 4th. So, yeah, I think in that selection of games, there's going to be one, I think, at home where we really put a team to the sword, hopefully. So let's go for that one. Why not?
Now, Jeff, last time I remember having an AFC Bournemouth match away moved to a Sunday 12 o'clock kickoff. We went to Huddersfield and got battered 4-1. Coaches were leaving at 3:45 in the morning. From Weymouth, they were leaving at about 2 a.m. or something ridiculous just to get to this BT televised match. We're on Sky and it's at 12 o'clock this time against Derby County, a team that, despite their league positions, has actually been doing all right. They've got their point deduction stuff. And Tom predicted in a tier list at the start of the season that he thought they might be all right. And, even that was without the points loss that they've got. But even still, they've been getting a few results recently.
You'd think we'd have too much for them, but then we thought that last season. What happened? We get bullied and lose 1-0 to scrappy goal. I really hope that we can avoid defeat. Frankly, I just think Derby are going to play a limited game that night, probably the same as they did against us last season because it worked for them last season. I'm going to go for a ball draw. I'm going to go for a nil review on that one later in the season.
Interesting. And nil review. So yeah, that's a ball draw. Did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's fair enough. And there it is.
Oh my God, 5 defeats in a row. Jeez.
Let's not go there. Yeah, so that's
Wow.
Yeah.
Not particularly great. However, you will get back for around probably tea time. So on that Sunday afternoon. So, that might be the saving grace, even if we've been defeated there. Right. Okay. That's Derby then. Our next one then is Millwall Away. And that is on a Tuesday night, Neil. Ooh.
Always a lovely trip, Millwall.
Beautiful.
Dainty little fan base. Always welcome you with bunting and cupcakes. And it's just like a trip to Middle England. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful.
Now I reckon, because you see, I'm going to severely piss everyone off now because I think we will lose one of our Tuesday night games.
Okay.
If I'd been allowed it, I would have said Stoke. I think we're going to go somewhere physical on a Tuesday on the road, having played on the Saturday. I just can't see us going unbeaten till Christmas. I know I feel awful saying this, but I just can't see it. So I would have said, had you given me Stoke, I'd have said that we would lose it 1-0 to a set piece. So I'm going to say the same for Millwall because I wasn't given Stoke, because I do think we're not going to go through to Christmas unbeaten, and it will come either Millwall or Stoke to a set piece.
There we go then. So there's a big L, and not necessarily a big loss, but just an L in the L column, and that is enough for us. I'm sure you're all wondering how much it is for a pint. Not that you'll dare go to any of the
London, mate. It's London.
It's London prices. £5.15. Oh,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, there you go. 11. So you got loss, win. Of course, that was a very good win last season. 4-0. I think Dom Solanke scored a couple in that one, and very quick journey there and back. So that's Millwall. And then straight after Millwall, we'll come back to Tiggs. And after that, it's... let's just change the order a minute. Yeah, we've got Coventry on the following Saturday. That's at home, mate.
Oh, see, now this has got the feeling of the time that we hit the blip, isn't it? We got at some point we're going to hit a blip of some description. And this feels like it to me. And I'm hoping that... I'll be optimistic and I'll say that we'll get a draw because we're at home with Coventry. But I just, after the loss, I don't know. Maybe I'm being too negative, chaps. What do you think?
What does everyone else think here?
They're a fine side. They're a fine side, and they're this year's Reading. So they've gone off like a storm. They've got a brilliant player. I can't remember his name now. It's a continental name. Who's the guy that they're calling the Midlands Messi? I think it begins with a G. Yeah,
I can't pronounce it. I know exactly. It's like GYOK.
Yeah, it's like the bottom of an optician's chart. But anyway, he's been brilliant for them. So yeah, I think a draw as well. I think they're excellent to watch.
Okay, so Coventry going into a decent draw there. Okay, next then, this is a big one, Tom. First London away day on a weekend. Fulham, and just before you come on to them, let me give you the stats. There you go. Price of a pint. £5.33. But you know what? Our last 5 there have been fairly favourable as well, with 4 wins out of 5. Last season, of course, relegated from the Premier League, but showing some relatively good early signs. A couple of interesting results with Coventry beating them, but it just shows that's the Championship, doesn't it? And you know what? This is going to have added spice as well, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Scott Parker derby. I think I think, like we've alluded to, really, we said it a few times with the games we've played so far. We struggled against teams that don't, as Jeff put it, don't have any ambition and sit back and make it difficult. I don't think Fulham will do that, so I think that'll suit us more than on paper it looks awful. But I think we'd struggle more at Stoke, at Derby, at Millwall, because I think it'll be a little bit more open. I think we saw that against Sheffield United. They took the lead against us, but they're not really a team that will sit back, and we managed to come back. So I think it will be a decent game. I think there'll be a few goals in there. I'll go with a decent draw because I think that'll be a good point out there. So I'll stick with that 1-1, 2-2 draw, something like that. But they're not going to. What I'm saying is they're not going to make it really horrible and try and play for a 0-0. So that might suit us a little bit. So I think we'll have enough to nick something there. And I would never say we'll lose anyway.
Of course you wouldn't. Right, Jeff, you have got the delights of Blackburn Rovers at home on the 11th of December there. How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, Blackburn are playing well this season, and they've got the amazingly authentic Chilean Lancastrian Ben Brereton Diaz ripping it up for them.
Ripping it up.
I think is he top scorer in our division? He feels like he's probably banged in enough to be top scorer.
Yeah, he's up there only with Mitrovic.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a tough one. Decent draw, I think, this one.
Decent draw. We're going to find out sort of how this compares with some weird Sam Davis metric that I'm going to put on screen afterwards. Middlesbrough away, and Neil, you're the last one for this. And just before we go on to that, I mean, our last 5 there haven't exactly been fruitful with the W's, but you get a cheap pint. So maybe the 5 hours, 21 minutes in the car will be completely worth it. But 321-mile journey. They finished 10th last season. And this season, though, are you feeling that Bournemouth will fare against them?
Well, also a chance to taste one of the country's culinary delights in a Parmo as well.
Parmo.
Which is a genius invention of breaded chicken with Parmesan cheese and just baked into the crust. So superb chance to try that with your cheap pint as well. Middlesbrough, I love going to Middlesbrough. It's one of those great sort of like old-fashioned football towns, isn't it? Where northern and gritty. I think they're not showing anywhere near the form this year that they've showed in previous years. I think the bounce that Neil Warnock gets is you've got to capitalise on it when you first get it, and they haven't. Whether or not he'll still be there or not, because their recent form has been very poor, I don't know. I think we'll get a tight win.
A tight win. And yeah, the Parmo, I remember speaking to Glenn Durrant, the PDC darts player, as we faced him off against Scott Mitchell, actually, in one of our pieces. And he talked about the Parmo, but also Jonathan Woodgate as well had a Parmo. Steve Harris from BBC Radio Solent's Dorset Breakfast organised for him to have one before one of our games, which we subsequently lost. But I've heard all about it. It's many a calorie, and I think I'll have to get one. Yeah. Okay. Right. So, Tiggs, you're a mathematician here, aren't you? Right. We're seeing 5 wins here. 5 wins. So what's that? 15 points? Am I right?
Yes, that is correct, Sam. Well done.
And then plus 5 draws. So in total, that's 20 points.
6 draws.
6 draws is 1 ball.
6 draws. That's 6 draws. So, okay, we've got 25 points at the moment. Where 21. On earth will that...
21 points.
21 points. And what are we on now? 25?
46.
Oh, I see. Beg your pardon. Yeah.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah, sorry.
No, go on. So that would put us on what?
46.
46. All right. So let's compare this to where Norwich were at last season.
Oh.
Yeah. So Norwich at this time last season, after 23 games, were on 47. So we'd be on 46, which you'd have to say is done, Tom, it's on course, right?
Done, isn't it? In the bag. Yeah, no, I quite like that because I actually think we were quite conservative. I thought quite a few draws in there. It wouldn't surprise me if we'd done a bit better than what we've put. I don't think there'll be a great deal in it. So, yeah, that's promising. Definitely. That is promising because Norwich, it felt like Norwich just smashed it last year.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. There's some tricky fixing there. Some really, really horrible away games, I think. Some real scrappy ones that we have to grind out. But I think if we can win the home games and pick up important points away from home, then we'll be on course, definitely.
Yeah, I agree. So we've had a number of your comments at home with regards to how you thought our season so far has been. Thanks for all the chats that have been coming in. We've been reading everyone. Really interesting to see what people say. But also some people have sent in some videos as well, giving a very brief analysis of what they've thought of our season so far.
Hiya, Morgan here. I just wanted to give my thoughts of our season so far. That's right, AFC Bournemouth have a 3-point lead at the top of the league over West Brom and Albion in second. That's right, AFC Bournemouth sit top of the table with 25 points, 7 wins, 4 draw, and no losers. It's an incredible record. AFC Bournemouth are playing much better football this season, and we're grinding out the results. It's a pleasure to represent the Cherry, and I think we're going to go on to achieve big things this season. Up the Cherries in all departments, and let's see if we can get back to the top flight. Up the Cherries.
Quarter season report, can't complain too much because we're 3 points atop the league. Defense has been stellar. Travers has shown real growth, and we've got such a deep squad, and that only makes for great competition during practice to determine who's going to be playing. Only a couple of areas of slight concern. One, it seems like we let our opponents dictate the tempo from the opening whistle. I like to see that reversed a couple times, and hopefully we can produce enough moments of magic when we play squads that try to pack it in defensively, because we all know that those 3 points oftentimes are the difference between automatic promotion and the playoffs. Other than that, great start to the season. Up the Cherries.
So I'm sitting in an underground car park in my car in the middle of Oxford. And I've just seen the request for reviews on the season so far. So I think we're in a fantastic position, obviously. I'm so impressed with Scott Parker. He slightly unnerves me when he doesn't look at the camera or the person who's interviewing him, but I think he's really got resolve. He's got a plan. He knows what he wants to do, and he's determined to work really hard to do it. So he's been fortunate in some respects, insofar as finding the Zamura-Anthony combination. You can add Billing into that as well as with that triangle. But I think he's really impressed me so far, and he's the main reason why we're doing so well.
Hi guys, back in the channel. I haven't been there for a while because I was a bit busy with the university and other things, so I couldn't talk about this unbeaten month with all these wins, especially the first one against Barnsley on September 11, which was the perfect gift for my birthday. But anyway, I think that we all agree that we are after 2 international breaks we are where we wanted to be. So top of the table, and we didn't play our best game yet, but I think that we shown a bit of quality, and also we won games that maybe in the last 2 seasons we would have lost, and if we can win games like that, like the last against Sheffield United, where we conceded first the opening goal for the first time this season, and we came back with in a really few minutes. So incredible scoring stats from Dom Solanke and Philip Billing, and now the question is, are we the strongest team in this league? Because we also drop points against the promoted sides, and glad that they are over, luckily. But can we keep that? Can we keep this momentum until in the next month, until the end of the season? We'll see. And in the meanwhile, bring it on the next 2 away games against Bristol City and Stoke City. I believe in this team. Up the Cherries.
So brilliant to hear from Neil Whedon there. There was Filippo, Chris Edwards from the States, and Morgan Scott as well. Thank you guys for getting in touch. Really appreciate your views, and fingers crossed we can all be positive as the Cherries maintain that top position. Even if it's automatics, I think I'll be relatively happy. But let's do our gradings now. The players have, on the whole, been pretty good this season, and we've got a tier list. I've been working with Tom to devise the categories. Here they are. I'm going a bit tier list crazy here. The GOAT, GOAT, greatest of all time, even though it's just for 11 games of the season. I'm satisfied, showing promise, need to see more, and also not seen enough. Right, so not seen enough. Just to explain, there are a few players like Lewis Cook, for instance, who's somewhere in this list. We haven't seen enough of him. He's only played half a game against Arsenal in the Premier League Cup. Maybe players like Christian Sadie might fit themselves into this category as well. You've got need to see more from them. It's not meant to be negative, but we just need to see a bit more. I mean, it's self-explanatory, isn't it? And we're going to go through these one by one. I'll allow you guys to pick a player if you want to do that. So, Tiggs, though, actually, I'm going to pick yours to start off with because I know that you've got something to say about Jordan Zamura, right?
Have I?
You told me something about in January, right?
In January?
When he goes off for Zimbabwe.
Oh, you told me. You told me this. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said you wanted to bring it up. Apologies. All right.
No,
okay,
well, it was your brain nugget, Sam, that you shot through my ear. Yeah. Well, it's interesting because we were looking at a picture on Twitter today, and a certain Leif Davis was on there, and who's on there somewhere. Where's Leif Davis?
He's there at the bottom there, bottom second row in.
So, I completely forgot we've got him, to be honest with you. It completely, I saw a picture, but we've got Leif Davis. And when he came in, we thought he was going to be slotting in at left back and playing quite a lot, and he hasn't at all. And so he's one that I would like to probably put in need to see more. But that led us on to, and maybe someone else could take the reins here. It's a good thing we got Leif Davis because Jordan Zamura is going away potentially on international duty, Tom.
Well, what I'll do is I'll put him in there now. Leif Davis, but I'll go on to Tom.
All right. Jay-Z, he goes away as we've worked out. I didn't realise Zimbabwe obviously have qualified for the African Cup of Nations, and it was actually yesterday I've heard he had a good game in the African Cup, so he's fit in there really well. Which what we've seen this season, we know he's that doesn't surprise me that he's doing well for them. So depending how good Zimbabwe get on, they could go out early. They're probably not one of the strongest sides in it, but we will lose him for a period. And it might only be a game or two, to be fair. But obviously there's a lot of travelling involved in that as well. So I think, he's going to have a bit of time off for that. And so that'll be a blow. But that's why you've got players like Leif Davis. We know Adam Smith can do that role if we need him for a few games as well. But in terms of some more, if we're going to do his rating for 11 games, I don't know what everyone else thinks. I'm tempted to put him right at the top because he's been one of our best. His first ever start in the Championship. He looked a bit shaky. Since then, I think he's been faultless, to be honest. So I'll put him right at the top happily.
Yeah. Would you say he's the best breakthrough player we've ever had? Because I would.
Wow, that's a good shout.
Because when you think of someone, we've signed people. I'm not talking about people who we've signed. I'm talking about people that have come from a youth team. So Eddie Howe I put up there because he came into the first team looking like he was born into it. But it was at a lower level. So if you think someone coming into our side at Championship from youth team, I think he's got to be the best breakthrough player we've ever had in our history.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I remember Pittman coming through and being good, but like you say, it did take him a while.
Yeah.
I think a few of them, and like you say, the league, that's got to play a part. So we haven't had anyone break through like this in the Championship. So yeah, I didn't think of that, but that's probably bang on as always, Neil, I think, with that.
Because he would have been backup to Leif Davis in Scott Parker in everyone's mind. The problem that we'll have when he goes away is Leeds might recall Leif Davis because if he's going to play for our reserves, he might as well play for theirs and get trained in their system. So clubs don't like loaning Premier League players to you and then you're not using them. So it may well be that we do play Adam Smith there because I think Leif Davis might get recalled.
Or we've got this fella called Steve Cook who could drop into the central defence and we could move Kelly out there, couldn't we?
True. Or Mepham, we can always move Kelly out. I didn't think of that as well. Yeah, good point.
So go on then, Jeff. You pick your man.
Yeah, I think the player I'd like to pick is Dom Solanke as the GOAT. Just pivotal to every game. Every goal, it seems to me, he's having a role in, whether it's running off the ball, creating space for others, or finishing himself. He could be even more GOAT-like if he can just be 5% more clinical. I think then he'd be getting 30 goals a season. I think he'll probably get 20 to 25 this season.
Excellent. Excellent. All right, then. Next, then, who are we going to have? Neil, do you want to pick a player?
I will pick Ben Pearson. And I'll put him as I'm satisfied. I think I liked him from when we signed him. He's my sort of midfielder. Reminds me a lot of Harry Arter. He never ever gives up. He gets stuck in. He could do with a bit more shooting, a bit more, few more goals. But when he's on the pitch, I always feel safe. And I think that's the earmark of a decent player for me. I just think he'll get to the ball. He'll stop things happening. I just feel an awful lot safer when he plays.
I think a lot of people in chat are agreeing with you right now. Tiggs, go on, pick a player. You know what? I won't do it myself. I'll leave it to you guys because you're the experts.
It's like a democracy.
I know it is, isn't it? Tiggs, who you go for?
Do you know I'm going to go for Gavin Kilkenny because I think we've got to talk about the start that he had to the season and coming in again. Another one we thought, we're having to play Gavin Kilkenny, and that's no disrespect to Gavin Kilkenny. He hasn't played minutes. Did he get out on loan last season? I don't think did he. No, he did he? So he's been sitting around, not being able to play. He comes in, he performs like that, absolutely incredible. I'd like to put him in. Well, I could put him in. I'm satisfied, but the problem I've got is, am I going to see him play again this season? But I am satisfied, so I would put him up there because I think he was. If we didn't have other players, he's an excellent deputy for Mr. Pearson there.
He was superb. He was superb.
Yeah. Agreed. Okay, Tom, who you gonna have, mate?
I'm going to do Jefferson Lerma before someone takes him.
Oh, come on. Bloody knew it.
But
I
can't put him in GOAT, even though he is the GOAT, because he missed 6 games. Well, he didn't miss 6, did he? But he had a 6-game suspension, so he missed the first quite a few in the league as well as the cup. So, but I'm still satisfied because I think what you got to look at is when he come in. We've just talked about Gavin Kilkenny, and I think we're bang on. He was brilliant for us. Mark Ondes was playing stuff like that as well. Obviously, slightly different players, but similarly with Pearson, as soon as they were available, because Pearson was out for a few games at the start, they were straight in. Parker was not messing around. I think the first game Lerma could play was Hull, and he started, and that's been it. Because we're a different team without him. We're a completely different team without him. Whether he sits a bit deeper, or whether he goes a bit more box to box and presses highly, he could do pretty much anything for me. He hasn't been booked that much this season as well, which has been. I don't think he's bit anyone yet, but we might find out in 6 months. But I love him. I absolutely love him, and I'm a bit worried. Actually,
I never knew that about you.
I'm actually worried for the game coming up at Bristol because I believe he's playing on Thursday. In Colombia, I think he's got about 3 games. I think they're playing Brazil later, actually. But I think he's going to be, in South America somewhere at kind of midnight Thursday. So I'm not sure if he might have to wait till Stoke maybe, and I think we'll miss him. But if that is to be the case, but yeah, I love him, and I think he's only going to get better, and got to keep him fit. He's one of the first names on the team sheet for me in a role and a place on the pitch where we've got some good options. So he'll end up being GOAT, but at the moment I'll just put satisfied.
Excellent, Jeff.
I'm going to pick Mark Travers, and I'm going to put him. I'm satisfied. I think he's one of the emerging stars of this team. Probably not getting as much attention as Jay-Z or Jadon Anthony, but actually, if you look at the way he started, that first game, the real pressure game against West Brom, where everybody was saying, we need a keeper, we need to replace him. Actually, since then, he really hasn't put much of a foot wrong. His distribution can be a little bit sketchy, but his shot stopping, and he's getting better at crosses. I think he's going to get better and better as this season goes on. Really pleased with him.
I've just realised if you have a look at the bottom 2 categories, they basically mean the same thing.
Yeah, they do.
Seen enough, and also need to see more. However, right, what I'm trying to say is we need to see more. We need to see them improve. That's what I maybe should have done.
Okay.
And so Leif Davis, by the way, are we saying we've not seen enough of him as a player to know how to grade him? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't feel like I've seen enough of him.
We've seen a left-footed player play right midfield, so I don't think that's really fair on him.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, just envisage that as being need to see improvement. Okay, because it basically means the same thing. Right then, Neil.
I will pick Philip Billing just to stop Jeff having to do it, and. No, I know you've changed your mind. So Philip Billing, I'll put him at. He's another player that I think needs to be at the GOAT level. because he's grown under Scott Parker from being a bit player who gave you one brilliant game in 3 or 4 to being now consistently pivotal to that whole left-hand side, because he's very much part of the left-hand side because he drifts to the left. And his interchanges with Zamura and Anthony are fantastic. He's added goals to his game. He's added work rate to his game. He still heads the ball like a man who's 5'6", not 6'6". But other than that, that's picking at small faults. He's moved himself now into being a player. I'd be really gutted if he missed a game, as opposed to, oh, fair enough, someone else is coming in.
Yeah, agree with that. Right, we'll rattle on through these then. Tiggs. Who's next?
Well, if you don't mind, Sam, I'll pick a few here. So I think because we can lump a few together. So we've got Will Dennis there. We've not seen enough of him this season. I think he's definitely third choice now. I don't know if we'll get to see him play. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a loan. And Nyland as well. I mean, that Norwich game has just been. I mean, poor Tom. He's still recovering from it. I mean, we left it out of the season review. That's how good it was. And then, again, Lewis Cook, we know how good a player he can be, but we're just basing it on this season. So I've got to put him down there as well.
Yeah, agreed.
And I think, and then Steve Cook. Now, Tom, you saw Steve Cook play against the Arsenal in the week. How did he get on?
Yeah, I thought he looked good. I thought he looked really good, as he should. It was nice to see that he still kept himself fit as well. He looked, because obviously Lewis was a different one. He was, like you said after the game, he was playing 45 minutes just to make sure he didn't feel his knee, which sounds like he didn't. That's all that mattered. And he, rightly so, as I expected, didn't look sharp already. He looked like he was nervous, which I expect. But Steve Cook hasn't been injured. He's just not been surplus to requirements, so to speak. And I thought he was mustard at the back. He made Brennan Camp next to him, who I saw it right back at Norwich. He looked well out of his depth. Played at centre half with Steve Cook, and they were really good. And it allowed everyone to just go forward against a good Arsenal side, because them two were brilliant. And Steve Cook was bringing the ball out of the back, and even when it kicked off at the end, he was over there telling everyone to calm down like a proud dad, which was nice. But yeah, it was really nice to see him on the pitch, to be fair. I didn't want his last game. I know that won the first team game, but I was glad to see him again, because I thought the last time I was going to see him was that 6-0 at Norwich. So yeah, he was great. And might as well throw in there Christian Sadie as well in the same category. Yeah. But what I will say is, to be fair to him, there's a temptation if you play more games to be shown promise, because MK Dons, he comes off the bench, scores. He come on at the start of the season in a few games, didn't he, just to run the clock down. In that under-23 game that we just mentioned, he was absolutely superb. They couldn't cope with him. He obviously got the goal at the end. But he looks like he's got the size to him at a young age, and he bullies defences in the under-23s. So, I like the look of him, and I wonder if he might be someone that we look at trying to get a loan out to, maybe like League 1, League 2, because could do him the world of good. So I've got good things with him, but obviously he hasn't played enough yet.
Okay, Jeff, I'll give you a choice and Neil a choice, and then I'm going to fire names at you, so you can have your pick.
Okay, I was going to say two that I think we need to see a bit more improvement from. So fill up that fourth category: David Brooks and Jack Stacy. I think.
Yeah.
When they've played, neither of them have looked either 100% or 100% on it, or consistently good enough. I mean, I think both of them down the right-hand side, probably we give the ball away far too cheaply when they're playing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and Neil?
I'll pick Jaden Anthony and put him in I'm satisfied. So he's a player who I think is growing in intelligence every game that he plays. Obviously, he's got a fantastic relationship with Zamura and Billing. He's starting to, he's got a few assists, a couple of goals. The only thing I think with him is that occasionally he really goes at people, and he's got so much pace and trickery, but he just doesn't do it enough for me. And I don't know whether it's because he's instructed not to, or whether it's just him growing in confidence. But sometimes I just think with his pace and youth, he should absolutely go at fullbacks. But often he checks in and looks for the square ball and stuff. So, but he's, what a fantastic introduction to the first team for him. Not quite as spectacular as Zamura, but really key to the way we play. And we noticed it when we had to play Morgan Rogers. We really missed the intelligence of Anthony and the way he moves the ball around.
Yeah, agreed. And big shout to Ahmed Shubel, who might be watching actually from The Athletic, who wrote a great piece with Jay-Z and Jaden Anthony. I thought that was an excellent piece. And he alludes to the fact that he won't compare himself with a Danjuma, and in certain situations he prefers the intricate pass, just like Neil said, rather than taking on his marker and going at him, which sometimes we just want to see a little bit more. But he scored a couple of goals, a couple of assists this season. I think the way you've categorized him here, just right. I'm going to throw names at you now in the order that they come out, and we'll have quick responses because we don't want to keep you up too late on this Sunday night, people. So Tiggs, Adam Smith.
Yeah, I'm satisfied with Adam Smith this season. He's not had to do a lot because there's been so much coming down the left in terms of attacking, but defensively been great, and he's forming a great partnership with Christie.
Tom, Chris Mepham.
I'm actually going to put someone in that showing promise because, we probably need to see more in terms of game time. But what I will say is he was probably our best defender before Cahill come in. So I do like Meps. I think it's just been that he hasn't been playing because of the partnership with Cahill and Kelly. But when he's played this season, I think he showed it in promise because he's had a few shaky moments last season. So, still be happy if Meps got thrown in.
He's magic, We've got Emiliano, Jeff.
Yeah, I think we, again, probably showing promise, Emiliano. He's started off the season on fire. I thought he was really good. And who knows, when Big Jeff maybe can't play against Bristol City, I think he might come into that midfield and play a bit more of a forward role that Jeff's been playing. I want him to do well.
Neil Dawson, you lucky thing. You've got Gary Cahill.
Yeah, so he's got to go in GOAT because we've been, he's not put a foot wrong since he joined. And you only shudder to think how many points we might have had he been here right from kickoff of the season. Just superb to watch. You look at him and you can see why he played at the level he's at, and great for the players around him.
Jamal Lowe then, Tiggs.
I'm going to put him in showing promise. His chances are going to be limited, I think, Jamal Lowe. So when he gets a chance, he's really got to take it and nab himself a goal. I don't know whether he's more likely to play in that Dom position or play on either side of either wing. But showing promise, certainly an exciting player.
Tom, Junior.
I forgot about him. It's a shame, isn't it? I think we might have to put him in the bottom one because I can't even really remember. I mean, he has played a few, hasn't he? I can't even remember. But I'll probably put him in the bottom because I don't think it's really fair to say he hasn't done enough. He just hasn't really played. It's just same old story with June. He doesn't want to be injured, bless him. But same old story in there. I think he was even on the bench for one game and had to get pulled out because he got injured in the warm-up. So it's just a fitness thing with him. But hopefully he'll have a part to play because most seasons he has a little part and he backs up with a few numbers, doesn't he? So let's hope that can happen. He can still play a role.
I think someone that's maybe benefited from Gary Cahill's experience, Jeff, is Lloyd Kelly.
Yeah, I think Lloyd Kelly, if he can cut out just those over casual moments, he probably has about one a game, I think, at the moment. He's definitely, I'm satisfied. He's got the potential to be goatish, but at the moment, I'm pretty pleased with what he's doing. Generally, he's making some good passes, good choices defensively. I'm not sure he's captain material. I mean, Cahill's more experienced and is a more natural leader in that back line, but doing okay.
Okay, doing okay. Let's put him in that category there. So that's I'm satisfied, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next then, Morgan Rogers. Neil, this is a difficult one. I mean,
yeah, well, I couldn't even work out who it was. I was looking at it I've got a small screen. It just looks like anyone that's ever been on Love Island to me, but I now I know who it is. I'm going to put him in, controversially, I'm going to put him in need to see more because of the Peterborough game where he ran into a lot of trouble, picked a lot of wrong options, didn't look like he had the control. I thought he would have seized more on games when he came on, just done a little bit more because of the promise he showed at Lincoln and the fact that Man City put such a huge price tag on him if we want to keep him. You think he would have shown enough in training to, be really knocking on Jaden Anthony's door, and when he got his one chance, he didn't take it. But that's quite harsh when you hear it spoken like that, because I'm sure he will get into the side and show us that he is the talent that we know he is.
Yeah. You two are left with some quite good ones here. So Ryan Christie then for you, Tiggs.
Yeah, and just to say, echo what Neil said there, I think the problem with Mr. Morgan Rogers is he's come with such a excitement behind him. It's really difficult, isn't it? To live up to the the reputation that he appears to already have at such a young age. Whereas this man, Christie, I think he's proven everywhere he's played that he's a good player, and he's come in, he's done a great job for us. I don't want to put him in GOAT yet. And I think that's mainly because of our late transfer business that we did. So we got a lot of these guys came in quite late, so they haven't had the string of games that we'd like to see. So I'm going to put him as satisfied. And
then Tom, finishing off with Zeno, Ibsen, Rossi.
Yeah, I mean, barely knew the guy was before, pre-season. Out on loan at Kilmarnock, thought I'd never see him really in a Bournemouth shirt. And so what a revelation he was at the start of the season. I think if we are to be successful at the end of the season, we'll look back on these start games and look at Kilkenny and look at Rossi.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, they filled in when we needed them to, didn't they?
Yeah.
They're players that they can go and have a loan, but they'll be welcome back. So he took his chance when he had it. He's got to be satisfied for me. He'll be frustrated, but with the options we got there, unfortunately, it's going to be difficult for him. But got an assist to his name and was always solid. Really like him. And if there's a chance, I would like to see another one. I'd like to see him out on loan in one of the 2 lower leagues. I think he'll do a good job because I was really impressed.
There you go then. So that is our finished tier list. Let us know in the comments what you think about that, whether you agree or whether you disagree. We'll post the screenshot to our Twitter as well to let us know what you think. Gentlemen, it's been a fun-packed hour and 11 minutes. It's been wonderful.
Graphics make the show.
Graphics make the show, not the talent. What kind of feedback do you think we would be getting as a podcast? Here's your chance, and do it anonymously as well. We've had a few already. Some have been stupid, talked about Tiggs's chest hair. Maybe that was real, I don't know. Anonymous feedback form. We want to know what you think we could do better, or what we need to improve, what we need to bring in, whatever. Just go to afcbpodcast.com/feedback. If you're watching this and you do enjoy what we do, then give this video a like. We would truly, truly appreciate it because every like helps. Basically, if people are searching AFC Bournemouth, this video will appear further up the search results as a result of you clicking that like. So it's really, and if you're not subscribed for this and some EFL content, and there's going to be more stuff as we do a tie-up with the League of 72. Tom was, as you said earlier, on James Alcott's channel, League of 72 channel earlier this week. Great video. Check it out if you can. We're going to be tying up with them this month as well. Really looking forward to it. Tiggs, thank you very much, sir.
Up with Cherries.
We're sharing a hotel room, are we, in Bristol? Or I don't know. There's going to be a bit of kind of jiggery pokery going on. But
I've already bagsy Tiggs.
Oh dear.
I don't know what's happening, but something's going to happen. I'm sure of it. Tom, looking forward to it. I'm playing football with you very shortly.
Yeah, can't wait, mate. Yeah, looking forward to it, and looking forward to Bristol and many more great games.
Many more great games.
And
Jeff,
Stoke.
And Stoke. Thanks for your company as well, Jeff.
No, thank you. Was it you, Sam, who sent that one about Tiggs's chest hair, or was that Tiggs's wife?
I don't know who it was, actually.
I sent it to myself, Jeff.
yeah.
Just as a reminder.
Yeah. Exactly.
It needs to be waxed. Aid memoir.
Yeah, before Bristol.
And thank you also, Neil. Really appreciate it.
No, see it at Bristol and at Stoke. I got my tickets for both.
Oh, looking forward to it. A Dawson over 3 or 4 days. Cannot wait. Really looking forward to it. Thank you, gentlemen. Really appreciate your company tonight. And thank you for everyone who has been getting in touch over the chat this morning. This morning, though, AFC Bournemouth put out a really heartfelt video with Hannah, the partner of Pete, who sadly passed away a couple of years ago. And it's worth checking out that video because, of course, it is World Mental Health Day today. We do advise you check out the full video, the cards at the top of the screen, but here's a taster of what she said.
It's hit my mental health a lot. I miss him terribly. I first met Pete when on an online dating app. I didn't want to meet him because I was terrified, but I decided one night that I was going to do it because he seemed different. I was attracted to Pete because he was funny and stupid and clumsy, but really, really lovely and kind and understanding, and he accepted me. And he didn't make a big deal about anything that worried me or cause me anxiety, and he was really just understanding and open to learning as well.
Yeah, so do check out that video. Certainly would advise it. And once again, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in the next one at the Cherries.